Alrighty, so let me just first start on the last 3 months regular goings on. Uh, Village Torah portion discussions continue. Those
Welcome everybody
continue
to
still on
another
the
Village
YouTube
Torah
channel,
Torah
so
portion
people are
session
welcome to
with
check those out.
me,
I've been
your
doing
host Rabbi
the
Drew,
Zooms on
and
Monday
we are
afternoons,
on.
and of course we also have the Shabbat newsletters that I've been doing every week, specifically issues since the last time we met. And yes, every Friday I pass them out along with Mark's Bagels, the challah nuts from Mark's Bagels. So residents get goodies, both intellectual and delicious. So Kabbalat Shabbat and Shabbat morning stuff. We had the very first Friday right after our last meeting, we had Jude and Irina led a really well attended Kabbalat Shabbat. Aside from that, Ben's been leading Kabbalat Shabbats, and then that was December, and then we had January and February Omicron, so no Kabbalat Shabbats. But Ben also led Shabbat morning services in December, and then obviously January, February happened. But we're starting all that stuff up this week. Very exciting. Bagels events. So we did have Ben and Bagels. We did the final 2 sessions in December of Ben and Bagels. We took a week off for me to attend a conference, and then I spoke with highlights from that conference at that Bagels event, and then we had Omicron, and then we're restarting everything this Wednesday. We're having this Wednesday, obviously, Bagels, but also we're going to have Danielle Minson from the Federation come and speak to the residents for the first time since probably nice. 2019, certainly pre-pandemic. So that will be happening, and then next Wednesday I'll be talking about Purim. It also will be, and I'm sure Sally is very cognizant of this, next Wednesday is also not only Erev Purim, but also the 25th anniversary of Cedar Village's doors opening. So that'll certainly be a day to celebrate with that Bagels event. TJF Fellowship. So we've got Ben, and I obviously we have Ben right here, and also Ben right here. So Ben's been doing a nice job. The interesting thing is that Ben already pre Omicron, before we had to shut things down, he indicated an interest of sort of sunsetting the Bagels and Ben in favor of more one-on-one opportunities with residents. Very fortuitous because we couldn't do the Bagels and Ben, so he's had time to spend one-on-one with residents, which is really nice. In addition to doing the Devar Torah for the newsletters every week, and also the Kabbalat Shabbats and Shabbat morning services. So that's Ben, and he finishes the final week of April. So we have him for this month and next month, and that's it. We do not have one for the summer. There are only like 3 students sort of in the hopper for the summer. And also the way that HUC's been working out with these particular students, they didn't have a year in Israel. So they're going to do like 6 weeks in Israel and then have the rest of the summer here to do their summer fellowship. So that would have been weird anyway. So Gamzu Latova, fine. I've interviewed students for this academic year. I have a prospectus out that I put together for the students. Spoke with them, applied. So we'll see. Hopefully in a couple weeks, I'll find out where we are for an academic year fellow for next year. I think it's no longer mandatory. It's only optional. So it's not the entire class. It's maybe half the class or something. So we'll see how that all works out. Yes, as Beth mentioned, and Jessica and Beth have mentioned, we are getting ready for Purim, week and a half from now. So we'll be doing something. We'll have a Megillah reading the evening. So that's the same day as the Bagels event, and then we'll be doing both a morning Megillah reading and then also an early afternoon sort of little fun costume thingy. And I've ordered Hamantashen, and we'll be distributing those. And I've also spoken with the Hillel, the Cincinnati Hillel, so they'll be preparing Mishloach Manot, which I'll be running around the building, distributing also the 17th. So that will be Purim. Passover, like Beth mentioned, Purim, this is our first Purim in 2 years, also our first Passover in 2 years, also my first Purim and Passover that we could have programming for. So I want to do pre-Passover, have a chocolate Seder, and I'm open to ideas for procuring items for the chocolate Seder and running that. I've never done a chocolate Seder, so first time for everything. And then also be working on the Sidarim. So finally, because I know people are always curious and they want to ask, even though, so right now, just people are always curious about the census numbers. What are they? So there are currently 228 residents at Cedar Village, specifically 88 in Fountain View Oakview, 140 in skilled nursing floors. Total numbers of Jewish residents throughout the building, 72, 40 of whom are in Oakview Fountain View, 32 in the skilled nursing floors. And if you are curious about a breakdown, this is the AL breakdown. The Jews are about 45%, 45 point something percent of all of AL. And in SNF, we've got 22.9% of SNF are Jewishly identifying residents. So if you're curious about the breakdown of the numbers, and then I can provide further breakdowns beyond that. 20% of Cherry is Jewish, and so on. So that's what I've got for now. Ooh, one final thing, which is I want to acknowledge that all Jewish life and programs here at Cedar Village, Jewish Home of Cincinnati provides. So thank you, Jewish Home of Cincinnati. So that's what I've got, and now I want to open it up for Q&A.
Back on the Passover, there used to be a regular dinner. Are you saying you're only doing a chocolate Seder, but not a regular, dinner with families and their loved ones who live at Cedar Village? Or how is that going, and what's going with that?
Mm-hmm. Great question. I'm very curious to hear how that used to go. I also don't know if families are allowed to eat with residents. I know that right now that when people are interacting, everybody's supposed to stay masked. The rare exception is for the dining room, in which residents are allowed to be unmasked but still are supposed to be distanced. So I can check to see, A, right now, and B, in a month from now, how much the regulations will change. Like I said, at this time, I don't know that, I haven't seen in my 21 and a half months here that families can eat with residents, but does anybody know any differently?
Under normal circumstances, you're saying?
Well, it's 2020.
Yeah.
What's normal anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head. I feel like there was one time that it was okay to have their masks off if they were having a meal together, but then
I think that was pre-Delta.
Yeah. So, and Rabbi was picking our brain about, different, how Seders were in previous. So, trying to bring as much familiar past experiences that we can while still following the guidelines. So we'll help whatever we can.
Yeah, it's really interesting in thinking about following guidelines, because earlier in my remarks I mentioned December we were doing the meals events and we were doing them in the deli, and as Beth mentioned, it's a really great spot for visibility purposes. And so we were having the bagels events, and the residents were spaced as far apart as they are in the dining room as they've been for the last few months, which, seems fine with me. They do it over there, but I got yelled at by the nurses who were very upset that they were not 6 feet apart. So I don't know why the deli is different than the dining room, but that's where we're at. So I will be doing all the bagels events in the CRCC so they can be properly distanced apart and the nurses don't get upset, which is fine. I'm not here to, if I can violate the rules here as little as possible, that's good, and get yelled at as little as possible, it's also good. So I don't know if families, a whole bunch of people can come in and be all unmasked and eating. That's a great question, and I don't know where we're at with that at the moment, actually.
So you don't know also if they're all able to eat in the dining room at the same time, or they split up in different time frames?
Well, that I do know. I mean, I stopped by and they are eating together, even just a few feet apart, and that apparently does not raise the ire of the nurses, but being that far apart in the deli does. So I'm going to try to, play by the rules, make the nurses happy. If they can be 6+ feet apart in the CRCC, where there's a much more spacious area, then I'm happy to accommodate so that we don't get into trouble. The better we can play by the rules, the better.
Rabbi, with the census, do you have an idea of how many of the 72 people who identify as Jewish keep kosher?
So that's something. I mean, it practically changes on a daily basis. The kitchen. No, I mean, on a really, first of all, the kitchen, they are the ones interfacing with the residents as far as what they choose on a daily basis. Because really, I know it's incredibly frustrating for the kitchen, but they also have to permit the residents to make those choices. If on, Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday they said, I'm doing the kosher stuff, but Friday through Monday they say no, they have to accommodate that. And people do change for myriad reasons. So that's on a fluctuating basis, and I don't know where we're at today with that.
Okay, good enough.
Depends on how much pork there is on the menu on any given day.
Right.
So out of curiosity, do any of the non-Jewish residents attend the Jewish programming?
Yes. There's also a couple of residents, one in SNF, one in AL, who love the content I put out both in 1851 and the Shabbat newsletters and the challah rolls. So at least them and any others are very welcome to enjoy that. And there are definitely residents who attend certainly the bagels events because they're visible. It's bagels. It's an alternative to the regular food they get here, as well as the Kabbalah, even the Kabbalah Shabbat services. Sometimes, especially if there's a musical performance that they love hearing, music being played live. That definitely is a significant draw.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
I was going to piggyback off of that. That's also when we were talking about Purim and having the celebration and when to have the Megillah reading and, trying to, at first we thought we had a plan and then it was, well, what if residents come that aren't Jewish and have no idea what's happening during the Megillah reading? And so it was trying to organize that accordingly and then using the Purim party as a platform to explain. Come, dress up, have fun, have Hamantashen. Let us tell you the story of Esther. Let's tell you why we're doing what is Purim. And so it gives that little bit of background and still includes everybody while celebrating the holiday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to that, speaking to that, I'll also be creating a one-pager for both staff and residents alike, just briefly outlining, as well as I plan on also creating a quick little brief 1.5 2-minute video for staff to be sent out, just so that people are aware of and what's going on. Because last year we didn't do any Purim activities because of our outbreak status. So this year is a first in 2 years. So
Yeah, you didn't do it in 2020 either, did you?
Purim, yes. Passover, no. Right?
Okay. It was right up Purim. It was beginning of March 2020. So I don't remember if there was a Purim celebration or not. But okay, so it's been a while nonetheless. Any more questions for Rabbi Drew, please? Rabbi, excellent job with the props and the stuff you put on the screen. You'll have to have a session where you teach us how to do that, because I'd like to know as soon as I learn how to turn my computer on. And Rabbi and Jude, Elizabeth and Jessica, thank you for your time today. You guys can head on off to lunch or whatever you do at around 1 o'clock. So thank you very much.